Did you know there's a distillery right in the heart of downtown Las Vegas? Today, we're kicking it all the way back to the Prohibition era. We're gonna check out the distillery at the Underground and the Mob Museum.
Bootlegger, someone who sells liquor illegally. Prohibition, the act of forbidding something, especially by law. The Prohibition era in the United States lasted between 1920 and 1933. During this time, the manufacture, storage, transportation, sale, possession, and consumption of alcoholic beverages were banned. This was the bootlegger heyday. To the surprise of no one, Las Vegans were not fans of the new Prohibition law. Speakeasies were not just popular among the locals, but among people coming through the town as well.
Prohibition was the best thing that ever happened to organized crime because there was millions of dollars to be made. These powerful mobs and gangs realized that if they got in on bootlegging, that they had kind of a captive market.
Of course, during Prohibition, people couldn't drink out in the open, so they may have gone to speakeasies like this.
Coming into the Underground, we're gonna go ahead and use the secret door.
What's the password?
I'm gonna say it's like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
It really does sort of take you back in time. It's a fully immersive space. We're making our own moonshine. We're serving Prohibition era cocktails. And then we also have museum exhibits. So that kind of sets us apart from other bars in town.
While the moonshine that the Underground distills is not bootlegged, we're going to channel that Prohibition spirit. Spirits. To give this multi-award-winning moonshine a try and see for ourselves how it's made. We met up with David, the Underground's distillery manager.
It's actually a working distillery. I think that's what surprises people the most, that this isn't just a showpiece.
We make it out of a 60-gallon copper still. When you go out down to our distillery and see this still, it's gorgeous. These types of machines would have sometimes been out in the middle of nowhere, like in Bootlegger's Canyon, like in the Spring Mountains, like, you know, in a random warehouse in downtown Chicago.
It's true. Bootleggers would often leave town and go out into the desert to make their moonshine so that they wouldn't get caught. Hence the namesake for Bootleg Canyon out near Boulder City.
Bootlegging was kind of an open secret, at least here in Las Vegas, and in fact in a lot of places around the United States. But especially here in Las Vegas, most locals knew exactly where their moonshine was coming from. We didn't have a lot of law enforcement oversight.
There was a lot of looking the other way, which led to an abundance of speakeasies, which may have resembled this one at the Mob Museum. But sometimes when Prohibition agents would come in from out of town and make busts, they would bust big.
Even just small moonshine busts, they would often find hundreds or even thousands of gallons of moonshine. And that's even in small towns like Las Vegas. I mean, in the 1920s, we're still a town of just a couple thousand. They're often taking like 900 gallons of moonshine, 1,000 gallons of moonshine, and you're thinking like, that's a gallon per resident. What is happening?
Luckily, the Mob Museum moonshine is legal, but they try and keep it as authentic as possible.
We do it, honestly, very similarly to how moonshiners and bootleggers operated during Prohibition. Some of the caveats, it is legal, and it definitely tastes good, which is not always the case with moonshine during Prohibition.
The base for all of the Underground's moonshine is 100% corn and 100 proof. From there, add-ins are infused to make their assortment of flavors, including Signature, which is the moonshine's base, Goodfellas Vanilla, Huckleberry Hideout, a peach flavor cleverly named The Fuzz, and Ginger Jake, which has historical context. Medicinal alcohol was a loophole to Prohibition. Every 10 days, people could get a prescription from their doctor and get it filled at a pharmacy for a pint of liquor. A popular over-the-counter medicinal alcohol was known by its slang name Ginger Jake, which was known to cause Jake leg, which is a paralysis caused by drinking improperly distilled or contaminated liquor. The Underground's Ginger Jake fortunately does not cause paralysis, it's simply a historical nameplay. And while it won't cause paralysis, a little too much of this hooch could leave you a little wobbly. I teamed up with Guy to give this moonshine a try.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
I can see what all the fuzz is about. Really good.
It was just peachy.
Okay. Can't put the two of us together, I guess. It's not just these flavors that David has concocted. He loves experimenting with different add-ins and is always looking to create that next new flavor of shine.
The script for moonshine isn't really written yet, so there's no real rules. As long as we're labeling it correctly, then we can come up with any kind of moonshine we want.
And that he does, experimenting with everything from pears and cherries to olives and sun-dried tomatoes and everything in between. January 17th, the anniversary of when Prohibition began, is now National Bootleggers Day, which the Underground at the Mott Museum celebrates with a special cocktail using their moonshine, making these Prohibition-era drinks even more authentic.
We definitely stand by the fact that our product is a little more polished, a little smoother, definitely tastes a little better than Prohibition-era moonshine, but in terms of how it's produced, we are still using very bare bones materials and production methods that are very similar to how they would have in the 1920s.
The Underground does offer distillery tours so that you can learn even more about this history and process. And while you're sipping your not so bootlegged cocktail, you'll feel like you've traveled back in time and may even learn something along the way.
If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And for more mob history in Las Vegas, check out these videos.